Hi Flosstube, welcome back to my channel, NBC Stitcher. I'm Matt, and this is Augie, and today is Friday, August 19th, I think that's right, 2022, and it is this Friday evening. As you can see, I am out partying, but this is actually the best time with my weekend plans and everything for me to make a video, or it would probably be sometime next week, and I didn't want to wait longer. So the last time we were here, you got to see one of my friends, Cheryl, and I would encourage you to go check out her new channel with our friend Kate. Fickle Stitches is the name of their Flosstube channel. Cheryl is the Blue Nose Stitcher, and Kate is Stitchy Aardvark. On Instagram, those are their handles. And so, yeah, give them a follow, go check them out. It's a great time. They've got a couple videos out now. They should have another one. I think they're trying to do them every 2 weeks, so should have quite a bit. Thank you again for everybody that is new. I think I've seen a lot of recent people posting on my whip parade that I did a couple last month, and that this is their first time finding me and all that, so I really appreciate it. I hope you, if you enjoy it, stick around and then come back and see me in the future. Leave a comment, hit me up on Instagram, like the video, do any of those things that you feel like, subscribe. All that. So I am, I guess I haven't done this in a while, but so I am this is a YouTube channel about cross stitch. I also will talk about some books that I've read towards the end of it, but that's not the focus really. And it's about the cross stitch. I do today have a couple, I have a finish, I have a fully finished piece, and then I've got several works in progress that I've worked on. But most of my stitching has been on a couple pieces. I've been kind of focused on those, and so it's a lot of progress on those, and then a little bit of progress on the others. So you'll get to see a few things and all that. One thing that we did, I've been doing recently, and then did it when Cheryl was here, was we did a tchotchke corner, or favorite, I don't know if I had an actual name for the segment, but this is this is a little bear statue that lives up here. This is a piece that my boyfriend brought back from Alaska. He is a theater professor at the University of Arkansas, and in the summers he participates in a theater conference festival in Valdez, Alaska, and has gone the last 2 summers. And it's about 10 days that he goes to do that, and he brought that back to me after the first one last year. Well, the first one that we were together for. He's gone for several years. I think this was his 8th year to go, or to participate in it. So yeah, it's been, he loves doing that. I think I would, maybe next summer or sometime, it would be fun to go up for, to go visit there. I know the conference is probably there's a lot going on during that time, and not necessarily like that would be a lot of extra time for other things, so maybe not that, but like at the end of it, catch some of the final performances and everything. But it's really cool. I know he really loves doing it, and I really enjoy seeing that you know, he comes back from that really excited and everything, and really has a great time. He brought me a little bear statue, which I love, because I mean, there's multiple meanings, but yeah, so yeah. Okay, so let's get into the stitching then. Are you gonna stay up here? I think you're gonna stay up here for a while. Okay, so maybe not. Nope. Okay. Bye. Bye, Inara. If you're watching. Okay, so this is my latest finish. This is the Move Forward in Love piece by Modern Folk Embroidery. I made some changes. So first of all, I stitched this all in a toile except for the white. I changed to B5200 aside from the Cold for Blanc. All of the colors except for I think the black are different than what was originally called for, but I used a blue, a purple, a green, an orange, a red, a yellow, a brown, a pink, and a light blue that is available in the Etoile line, and did that. So I did not do the outside border around the piece, and I did not do, there's like a little tiny thing at the end of these flowers that I didn't do as well. But for the most part, I did everything else. I did change the birds. I used a stitched bird that was recharted by Imogen. Imogen had charted a couple different birds with hats because animals with hats on them are adorable and are important to be stitched. And I took one that Imogen created and changed it a little bit more and created what the little hats on these. They kind of look like little crests or little hats. They do remind me a lot of the little like the hat Robin Hood in the Disney cartoon wears. So it's kind of like that. And then they're a little bigger than the original birds that were charted. So I took out the berries that were over the bird in the original chart. So what I did, there was a wizard hat that Imogen had charted, and I compressed it down to, instead of being over 2 strands tall, it was over 1 strand, but I still went 2 strands across. So doing that, it created these hats. So that's what they look like. Okay, so that is the first finish. I have an FFO as well. This is July Prudence, or Prudence in Black. This was a piece, this is by Stitches by Dre on Etsy. This was a chart that I received from the designer when the row decision came down and everything that was in reaction to that. It seemed like there was a lot of, upheaval in and uncertainty about the future and lots of projected horribleness. And so the designer charted this piece, and if you would put it in your stories and repost it, then they would send you a copy of the chart for a certain number of people that did that. I was one of the people that did that. They sent me the chart, and I knew I wanted to stitch it on July 4th. I stitched it July 4th and then finished it on July 5th, and then I have FFO'd it. So it is Prudence Kitsch in black with an upside down American flag, which is a symbol of distress. So it is on 16 count Ada from Be Stitch Me called Victory, and then I used whatever stuff from Stash. I think it's Anchor Black is the dress, and then the red and blue are overdyed from Hand Dyed by Rolanda that I used for this Prudence Kitsch dress as well. So it kind of goes along with that, and then I think I'm gonna have it here. I may move this around, but that's where I have it so far. So that's my newest FFO. Okay, so getting the Move Forward in Love piece, it was a lot of stitches. It took a lot of time and was a big focus that I had for much of June, July, and August. And so I also did work on my, oh, I didn't bring the pattern. Forest of Sumatra, which I have shown in most of my recent floss tubes. This is by Ink Circles, and I have a goal to get a page done every month. I should be done in September if I continue with that goal. I have 2 pages left, or a page and a half about now. And so the last time you saw this, I hadn't finished this. I don't think I had finished, maybe, well, I finished the bottom page. So I was, I think, working on this tree. I finished that, and then I started working on this motif, which I considered part of the middle page. I did this motif, all the little ones, this one, this, and then I have started on this one. This is really the big motif that I've left for what I'm considering the middle page here. It spans actually 4 pages, the middle one, the top right, and the one up here, and this one as well. And so I've got the base started, and it's kind of going to go all over. I'm going to move the Q-snap after this, but I did get a bunch of these done. So this is on 36 count linen by Viki StitchNButton called Toast. It's one of my favorite colors that she does. And then the called for floss is Sumatra by Gloriana, and that is what I've used here as well. I am using 2 strands because I like it a little chunkier looking, and I like that on the 36 count. So yeah, it's gorgeous. I love working on this piece. I try to do a length of thread, so like 2 strands, but like just 1 length every night to get some progress on it, or sometimes I don't work on it, and then sometimes I'll do several strands, and it balances out, but I try to get my page finished by the end of the month, which I should be able to do. I've just got 1 big motif left, so that will be what I finish, and then next month I have the top page as well to do, which is going to be quite a bit, but I should be able to get this done in September, hopefully. So that is nice to have a big piece close to being finished. I like that, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to stay on track for all of that. Okay, so now we're going to talk about some pieces that I did just a little bit on, because one night I decided to work on them and just did a little bit. So first up we have, so this is the Pride Star Wars bag that I got from Jasmine's Custom Bags, Genevieve, and the Move Forward in Love lived in there before, but now since I finished that, I put my Star Wars piece in there. And this is the Welcome to Naboo by Country Magic Stitch on Etsy. This is a black and white picture of what it is. It's a vintage travel poster that for the planet Naboo from episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Not the best episode, and has lots of problems. But, so I worked some more on the sky. I didn't do much more. I think I also worked a little bit on the clouds here. So there were 2 colors I essentially did work on. The light blue and then the lighter blue. It's still here. I've only got a few, I've got about so this is a 4-page pattern, and I had finished the 3rd page, this one up here, or at least by stitch count. So I'd gotten to the 75% mark on this one earlier this year, and so I don't know that I'll be finishing this by the end of the year, but I do like working on this, and it's something that if I need to just have some mindless stitching, this is very easy to do on that, because there's big chunks of stuff where I can just fill in a color and it'll work great. So I do really enjoy this piece. It's just on white 18 count Aida with the called for DMC. And yeah, so I am doing that. This is one of my oldest whips as well, so I am happy to get some more progress. And now I want to talk a little bit about some other full coverages. So I had set a goal of doing 3,000 full coverage stitches every month throughout this year to get some good progress on all of my full coverage pieces. Originally, I was not counting Star Wars, that piece, as part of that goal. And then I realized this is a full coverage piece. It's not as big as the Heaven and Earth design or comparable, but it's a big piece and I think it should count. Also, my other full coverages I'm doing half stitches on, and this is a full stitch. So I think it really should count towards that. It's also in Pattern Keeper, and so it's easy for me to track that, but I didn't want to, I knew I had done about half of the piece before this year started. So I didn't want to add all of the other stuff in, and that would just like, I'm done with what I need to do this year. So I changed, like, I'm only counting from the second half of the piece. By doing that, I have, I caught up with June and July. I had been kind of behind on those months. I hadn't been able to do my full coverage stitching as much as I wanted to. I do sometimes do full coverage Fridays on virtual stitchers with my friends. That was the original plan for this year, and I've done it some, but not all. I've done a lot of work on my Move Forward in Love on Friday because I was trying to get that done, or I had a piece that I did as a gift, which you saw last time, the tiger piece, that one also took a lot of time to do as well. And so, so yeah, but I was not caught up through August. So that's good. And then I was kind of like, oh, well, I've still got some stitches to do this month. So I did more. First of all, I also had a Whip Go goal of working on dragons. I have a couple pieces that have dragons in them. One of them is a full coverage piece. And so my goal is to work 5 days on those. I did work on this one for a couple days and got to the finish of the diagonal. This is grounding. Let me show you a picture of what it will look like. So this is not a Heaven and Earth design. It is an unconventional X stitch, which is a similar type of designer. They take art by other people and then turn it into a cross stitch pattern. And so they have done that with this artist, Carla Morrow. It's all licensed, like this is on the Up and Up View Mockup. And so this is what it is. It's called Grounding, and this is what it will look like. It's a beautiful earth dragon with blues and greens and browns, and I love it. So I have been down here in the watercolor mountains, as I call it, and then getting to start into some of the rock. And I stitch in a diagonal on these, and I do 2/1 tent stitch. This is also 28 count Lugana. That is the easy guide, and so I finished my next diagonal. So I got more of this rock done and finished the mountains and got all that. So that's where I'm at on this one. I will work on this some more. I kind of switched over to another full coverage piece that I will talk about now. So that worked a little bit towards my Whip Go goal, but then also onto my full coverage towards the month of August. Okay, so this is the one that I like working on this one the most. It is a beautiful piece. It's my oldest whip. I think I restarted another one before I restarted this one, but I did start this originally the oldest, especially been in my full coverages. This is a Heaven Earth design piece. The original artist is Sandra Santera, and this is called Intimate Encounter. This is the name of the piece. This is what it will look like. This is Hearn and Pan. Hearn is on top and Pan is on bottom. And this is a beautiful piece that I just love working on and love it so much. So I am now at the 9% mark on this piece, and I'm so happy about that because I have done 23,942 stitches. Half stitches, but I just count it as a stitch. So I am just so excited. But let me show you. Okay, I'm still working on this diagonal. I haven't finished it, but I'm working here, and then I had finished up this arm, I think for the most part. I did some fill in here, and then I've mostly been working on this area, and then some of the black up here. So that is where we're at. This is the horn of, well, this is Pan's hair, and then you've got some of his horn right here showing up, and then more of his arm and Hearn's arm up here as well. So this is also 28 count Lugana, and I just love working on this. It's very fun. It's very easy to get a bunch of stitches in. Yeah. Okay, next up, we've got a project bag by Linux Stitch. This was the quarterly bag from last quarter. This is called Elemental Dragons Water by Ink Circles. This is part of her Elemental Dragon series that was released 2020, I think. Yes, 2020. So this is the water one, and I got some more progress on here as well. So I finished this dragon, did this fish, and started this dragon. So that's part of the center. This is a 40 count Verdal, which is an even weave, is dyed by Viki StitchNButton. It did not have a particular name. I think I had asked Brandy to do this last year, probably 2020. And then I'm using a Threadworks. Don't have the number. So I will have to look at that later as well. You're wondering, it's a beautiful royal blue color. I really love it. It's a wonderful color. Okay, and then, do I have that? I do. Okay, so this is Polar Pack. This is my last piece to show you. This is Polar Pack by Plum Street Samplers. It's part of her stack of 3 animals pieces. This is polar bears. This came out last year, or at the maybe early this year. I think it was last year because I think it was, I bought this stuff at the New Year's Eve sale. So I know, or New Year's Day sale at the Silver Needle. So I know it was out late last year, I think. Okay, and so this is a piece of 36 count linen called Glacier, which is also from Viki StitchNButton. And I did this using my own colors that the red is Buckeye Scarlet, the green is Grasshopper, the white is a Silks For You silk, and then the black is Anchor Black, and then the cream is DMC, I think. So this polar bear needle minder is from my friend Zan, Crazy Band Lady Stitches. She gave it to me in Pittsburgh. I am hoping to have this done this year. I'm gonna have to work more. For the most part, I finished the red and then worked on the black some more. So I did a little bit, didn't do a whole lot. I worked on it one day, part of a day, and I was like, I want to do something different. Christmas. So I did that. So, okay. That's the end of my stitching section. I'm gonna do haul, but I'm gonna take a quick break and I'll be right back. Okay, so let's get into haul. It's a preview. It's a pretty thick box this time. So, which it was a pretty thick box last time. Okay, so first up, if you know Viki Gable Viki Gable is her name, but StitchNButton is her name on Instagram. She's also one of the administrators of Virtual Stitchers. She does do Flosstube here as well. And she has a group on on Facebook, where she sells needle minders and other things, project bags and stuff. One of the things that she started doing are these trays, which is a piece of fabric sewn together, and then it's got buttons that you can snap together, and it turns it into a little tray. So she was showing these off last Friday, and I was like, ooh, I want that one. So this is a beautiful paisley color red, white, and blue on the in, and then blue and white on the inside, and thought that would be great. Nice little thing to keep, you know, your little extras from getting away from you while you're in the middle of stitching. She also sent me this cross stitch blanket fabric thing. So this was a piece that was given to her by another Viki that's also in Virtual Stitchers, that Reading and Stitching, I think is the name of her cross stitch or Flosstube channel, who is, I have not met in person, but it's not very far. She's in Arkansas. She's actually in a part of near where my boyfriend lives, but we just haven't met up yet. So it's a red fabric that has like grids in it. You can see that. And then the fabric itself is, the inside of the grids is 16 count Aida. So there's a really cool, I don't have it saved where I could show it to you, but there's a really cool black work tarot stitch along that is in an Art Nouveau style, that another cross stitcher showed last week on Virtual Stitchers, and I thought that would be great. And then I thought, oh, I could do it on one of the blankets, like Memphis Sarah E and Colleen are doing their, I think it was Sarah. Yeah, I think she said she stole it from Colleen. But maybe, I know Colleen's doing it, and I think Sarah's also doing it, but it's the Forbidden Fiber Company's Marvel, or sorry, not Marvel, but comic book hero threads that were released at the market that come with a little pattern. You buy the thread, you get the pattern. Colleen is doing all of those on a blanket. And so, you know, kind of all together, but also something cool. So I thought that would be cool. And Viki had this and was like, well, if you pay the shipping, it's yours. So I did. And so that arrived this week. And so I'm very happy for that. Apparently I also have just regular mail in here, accidentally. Okay, so last week was World Cross Stitch Day, and Garon Totem Bags was doing a sale for the day, for Friday and Saturday, I believe. And so I purchased a few things. First of all, I picked up the woodpecker from the Year in the Woods Sal by Cottage Garden Samplings. What are you trying? No. He's just like over there looking at a toy, and I don't know why. So I picked up the woodpecker, number 9. The bat just was, I guess, released or put out on social media today. So that's the second of the fall pieces. So I really like this woodpecker. Excited for that one. I did pick up a couple of pieces of fabric, because although they did not have any 40 count, so I couldn't, you know, solve the shortage on my part, but I did my own with that. How do I, oh, there's the, like, how do I open this? So this is Fabrics by Stephanie 36 count linen driftwood. So it's a nice dark brown, a nice beautiful color to do something on. Got a nice cocoa chocolatey color. I'm probably gonna get interrupted because the Friday night fight night is tonight, and I think we're getting close to that time. So just as a heads up, this is going to be a little choppy, or it might be. I also got Fiber on a Whim Ivy 36 count linen as well, because having another dark green is not a bad idea. And And so this one I also got with a particular purpose. So this is Ivy. And then I purchased, and I've been eyeing this for a while, this is the Alessandra Adelaide Magic Reindeer, which if you watched Christmas Time with Sunshine Stitchers in the years past, when Gary and Ronnie would put up their Christmas decorations, there was this reindeer pattern that Gary put up behind them that is beautiful. And it's, so it's called for to do in DMC. I was thinking I might do it in like a metallic, which would be cool. And I also thought it would be really fun to do it on like a dark green. You think? I think. So that was kind of, oh, I'm planning this. I forgot to show this last time. Denise, Pause for Stitching was one of my table mates at StitchCon, and she made these beautiful, amazing t-shirts. And so she did this one. I talked about it, but I didn't show it. So it's Stitching Because Adulting is Hard. And I really liked that. And so she made that and sent it to me. And I thank you so much, Denise. She does not sell them. She just does like for what she wants. Okay, so I hadn't realized this, but Fortnite Fabrics has changed the way they're doing their stuff. So you used to be able to buy directly from them certain fabrics as part of their collections. Then they opened up a LNS specific collection, so you have to go to a shop for that. And now they're transitioning to doing all of their stuff through an LNS, except for their like monthly clubs. But they had a sale. I don't think it was like a Memorial Day or like, I don't know, April or something sale, where they had a bunch of stuff 40% off, or everything was 40% off. I know I had ordered several things, and I had ordered 40 count linen. This was when they carried 40 count linen, and I know that it's been hard to get. And so they finally got some in and dyed it and then sent it to me. And so I was kind of expecting to have to change to a different size, but then there was a shipping notification. It was coming. So I'm happy to get the 40 count. I think 36 would also be great, but I'm happy to have the 40. So first up, we've got Fallen Leaves, which is, I think, from their new, well, not their brand new, but one of their newer collections. I thought that was really pretty. Or I think this is one of the like subtle ones that they did the fall winter last year, if I remember correctly. Then I also got Granny Smith, which I believe is one of the spring summer. Oh my God. The opening is not very clear for me to see, or well, it is too clear. So this is Granny Smith. It's a beautiful green. Yeah. They also switched, I guess they did stickers instead of their cards. I like their cards, but it's okay. This is Caravan Tan, which is one of their original collection colors. I think this is what Julie did a bunch of her, I think she did her big Modern Folk embroidery last year on this. So it's beautiful. Again, this is all 40 count linen. I think I'm part of the shortage. So then we've got Fuzzy Statesman, which is one of their recent releases as well. I had originally ordered this perhaps for Autumn Quakers. It's a beautiful like marigoldy orange yellow. It's a beautiful color. It's a possibility. I think one of the other ones is probably going to work better. I think this is just maybe too close to one of the colors of the thread, but I love it. I definitely want to do something on this. It's beautiful. So yeah. Okay, next up, we've got Jody of Steel City Stitchers Fabric of the Month. This is 32 count linen, and this month we got a lovely little cocoa color tan, and then a lovely green. Okay, and then the other piece is this lovely green, which is also, it's just a beautiful green color. So that's nice as well. Okay, I also got my Color and Cotton Floss of the Month for August. I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's for August. So I'm in the color club. So this one is pretty Halloween-y themed. So we have this beautiful orange called Toil and Trouble. Green here is Goosebumps. And then Hocus Pocus is lovely variegated orange and purple. Monster Mash, purple and green variegation to it. And then Purple People Eater, which is just purple. So also very like 80s, 90s, like Halloween times and themes, movies and spooky stuff. So that was nice. Okay, next up. So I purchased, I purchased 2 pieces of fabric for it, which is not that surprising. But, okay, so the newest Bella Filipina pattern, Aquila, I think is the name of it. I don't have the pattern yet. I have ordered it. It has shipped. I have seen it shipped. I ordered the, like a kit from Brandy at Viki StitchNButton with the treasures and the Krynic and the metallic. So all of that stuff, plus the pattern. And then I also got a piece of fabric that she was dyeing up for it. It's a beautiful color. I think it will look great on. I also think if I use it for something else, it'll still look great. But I was on the Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers website, and they are the called for color from the pattern of linen is one that they make, and it's called Fall in Love. And on the picture on the front, it shows a gradient, but I think it doesn't do it justice. So this is the piece, and I think this is the orientation that they kind of suggested. I think I'd do it this way just because it makes more, like, I like that way. But I think this is gorgeous. Like, it's a beautiful color. The gradation is amazing. I think it just looks great. This is a 32 count linen. It's a fat quarter, and so it should fit. Pretty sure I checked that. To work with that as well. Okay. Now, let's do this first. Okay, so I'm in the Bird Crush Club from Lindy Stitches. So this month, or I think this is for July, it was the Lewis's Woodpecker. And so this is the picture, well, I guess it goes this way, of the woodpecker. And then this is the pattern, what it'll look like. And then we get a piece of, a little skein of Threadworks. And this is 01036. So I believe this is the tree. Let me double check that. Yeah, this is the tree in the pattern. So, yeah. And then, of course, there are other pictures of the bird in here as well, and some information about the bird, and little stickers of the bird. So I also have my Threadworks nest egg, which I think we have switched over to A. So I'm getting close to being done with this full set. So that's cool. Don't know what I'll do next, or if I'll do one with her or what. But, okay, so the first one here is number 1010, which is Aloha, which is a very like light seafoamy green, teal, aqua color. 1028, which is Wet Clay, and it's like a brown color. Not really. 10592, this is called Wildflowers, and it's a beautiful, like a pastel rainbow, essentially. Lots of different colors in it, really pretty. 1072, this is Wild Poppies. This is a orangey red variegation, very pretty. 1048, Woodland Green, another dark green. 10602, this is Winter Green, light green there. 1104, this is Afternoon Party. It's a nice like pinky tealy color. 11213, this is Wrought Iron. This is a black gray color. I bet this would be similar. So there is a color that's done by a dyer that I do not use, and but is very often charted with by lots of designers. And they have a color called Kohl with a K. K-H-O-L, I believe it is. And it is a dark black but gray variegation. I wonder if this would be a nice like substitute for that. Maybe not, but it's a beautiful black variegation. 1026, Aqua Blue is that one, and then 10051, Wine Castle is that one. So that is the Threadworks, and then I've got my Be Stitch Me fabric and floss of the month that I have been getting. So this is, I'm in the silk of the month, but the multicolored, and I get two 25-yard skeins. So first up we've got Tiger Lilies, which is a beautiful orangey variegation. And then Butterfly Weed, which is a green and orange, lovely color. And then, okay, so the linen, this is the color, she has a neutral club and a colorful club. And this month, the colorful club is called Heat Waves, which I believe is a new color. It's a beautiful orangey, it's brighter than that. Maybe this is, yeah. Isn't that gorgeous? It's not quite like, it's a little darker than like her Phoenix color, but it's beautiful. Definitely something to do on that. And then in the neutral, and that's a 36 count linen, and then I get the neutral colorway on the 32 count even weave Jobelin. And this is Morning Fog, which is the name of this one. And so it's a beautiful light blue. Isn't that pretty? I mean, it's more, yeah, that's better. It's similar to my wall, I think. Yeah, it's a beautiful light gray blue. Love that. That would be pretty, so many things would be pretty on that, with that. So I know my taste in fabric has changed over the 2 to 3 years that I have really been back into stitching as much, and I like doing a lot of things over 2 on linen or even weaves. And then in even weaves, I've really kind of shifted to Jobelins. I like Lugana, but I think Lugana can often be a little bit tighter. And the Jobelin, it seems to be a little bit, it feels like it's easy to use 32 count, get 2 strands, and then still have like a good amount of coverage, but it not be too tight, like it's pulling on the thread when I stitch with it. I don't know, that's just me and my like recent attempts and stuff, but yeah. So, let's see, plans. Well, I want to finish my, what's it called? Forest of Sumatra is definitely, I don't know if I'll finish it. I probably won't finish it by the next time I see you, but hopefully I'll get a page finish by then. Do some more work on more projects. We've got the Needlework Expo coming up. I don't know that I'm gonna order anything from that, but maybe. I know a lot of designers are still dropping their pieces, so that's pretty cool. And hopefully get some more progress on my full coverage. So, and I need to catch back up on WIPCO. I've caught up on my full coverage stitching, like for the month. I have finished August now with what I've done with on Intimate Encounter, but I need to work more on my WIPCO goals, and so hopefully that will be something I could catch up on this month. There's a piece, if I'm gonna get it done by Christmas, I probably need to really work on it, but I haven't done that yet. So that's another thing. Okay, so I wanted to, this is kind of with plans, and before I get into the book talk area, I want to talk about this. I commissioned a piece of art by an Instagram artist who we worked together. He created the art and then sent me a copy of both a print that's coming and then a digital version of the piece. And with the intention that I would then be able to turn it into a cross-stitch piece. My thought initially is to use one of the WinStitch or one of the other programs that you can use to then take an image and turn it into a piece of cross-stitch art. If anybody has any suggestions or ones that they believe are good, or don't use this one, please give me any suggestions that you have down below, or send me a message on Instagram. I do have the artist's permission. I'm doing it for me, and I'm not giving the pattern away to anybody or selling the pattern or anything like that. I'm just making it for myself, and then that's the purpose of it. So if you have any suggestions, I would love to hear from you all. I don't know that me trying to chart it out myself would be successful as just a basic thing, but that could be. I do know basically the more colors you use, the better it's going to look, but the less fun it is going to be to stitch. That's kind of the way it works. But yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm also glad I'm getting a print, because then I'll have something to look at and don't have to wait for me to stitch it for years in the future. So it will be a full coverage piece, but I'm not looking to start it until I get some good progress on mine that I currently have. And so that's probably gonna be maybe end of the year. If I keep going, that would be great. But anyway, so if you have any thoughts or anything like that, please give me your suggestions down below. I appreciate it. Thanks. Okay, so books. So the last several weeks, I didn't do book talk the last time, and then before that was Whip Parade, and I didn't do it there either. So I have been reading, for the most part, well, I think actually the only thing I've been reading is one particular series. It is by Kim Harrison, and it is called The Hollows, and it is an urban fantasy post-apocalyptic series. I am, I think, on book 9 now, but it's kind of a progression story. I can't really talk about the later ones, spoilers for the first ones or anything, but I'm kind of giving an overview of the world and what I think about this series. So it's kind of like the Mercy Thompson series, or the Iron Druid, or Dresden files. That's kind of the vein of it. It almost feels like, especially the earlier books, kind of feel like early Dresden books, or that there's like a mystery that's trying to be solved, even though the main character is like, I'm not a detective. So the world is, it's a post-apocalyptic sort of world, and it's an urban fantasy series. So basically, several decades before this story starts, which I think it starts in the 90s, or maybe early 2000s. I don't know that a date is given, but the characters have cell phones at some point, and the even like book 9 is only like 2 years into the story, so it seems like one of those things where like maybe technology is advancing, but like to real world lifetime. But the storyline of the series is actually, you know, it's not like one book may come out every year, but it's only a short amount of time in the world of what they're covering, and then it kind of just goes into the next one. Anyway, so several decades before this series is set, there is a global pandemic based on a genetic virus, or genetically modified virus that accidentally escaped from a lab and became it tainted tomatoes. And you want to come back up? Come here. Come here. Come here. So these tomatoes, this virus got out, it created a pandemic. Humanity was greatly affected by this pandemic. Most supernatural species, they call themselves Enderlanders, I'm not really sure why, in this series were not affected by it. The only exception is the elves, which were impacted by this, mostly because a lot of them had interbred with humans by the time that this had happened. So before this pandemic, the Interlanders lived alongside humanity, but not like with the knowledge of humanity. Then this pandemic happened, and like half the human population dies, and then the Interlanders that are mostly unaffected are still there, and so there's about the same number of Enderlanders as there are humans. The main groups, the most populous peoples, are the witches, the vampires, and the werewolves. There are also pixies and fairies, which are sometimes regarded by other people as people and sometimes just not. Like they're just, oh, they're the wee folk, or they're small and they don't really count. And then you've also got like the elves, and then there are demons, which are not living in this world, but in the related magic world called the Ever After. And so the main character, Rachel, is a witch, and she works for the Enderland Security, which is like the police that the Enderlanders have created for themselves. And so in the wake of this pandemic and the rise of, you know, humanity realizing what's going on with all these other people, you've got the Enderlanders decided to step up and create their own like version of not democracy, but like their own civil or infrastructure. So they create the IS to replace the police departments. Now, humanity has created their own version of like policing called the FIB, which they kind of work as a way to regulate humans, and then the IS covers Enderlanders. It's kind of like how it's supposed to work, but it doesn't seem to really work that way. Anyway, so the Rachel is a witch, and she is like 19, 20, 21, some pretty young, but she maybe she's a little older than that, but maybe in her 20s, early 20s. She has been working for the IS for quite a while, and she is having problems because like things keep going wrong in her case. So she is a runner, which is essentially somebody that when an Interlander is like, she's essentially someone that goes and arrests somebody because they have committed a crime and they are going to be prosecuted. She doesn't investigate the crime. She just kind of gets like, here's the person, go get them. Here's the name and what they did. Okay, go get them. And so she works, at the time of the start of this book, she's working with a pixie named Jinx, who is her backup and is helping her do her job. Well, she goes on a run, but she's been having problems, like things that have been going wrong on her runs recently. That's what they call it when they go get somebody to arrest, calling it a run. And so she has a prior, a vampire that she worked with called Ivy, that is her old partner, but has kind of moved on to like, Ivy's doing well, Rachel's not. So Rachel's kind of in trouble at work and feels like things are not going her way, and that's like, so she decides that she's going to leave the IS. And that is a no-no. You have a contract and you have to buy yourself out of the contract. And if you just walk away, they're going to come after you and you're not going to, it's not good for you. So she decides, I don't care, I'm doing it anyway. And she gets a wish from a leprechaun and uses that to get out of her contract. She's out of the contract, but she still has like problems, like they still like do things. Well, I don't know if it was directly to get out of the contract, but anyway, so she's getting pressure from the IS, and then she's trying to figure out other things that are happening, and she's trying to open up her own like independent runner service, which is essentially like a private investigator, even though she's not an investigator. It's very odd. Like, it's kind of like she's kind of becoming a bounty hunter sort of thing. But anyway, so Jinx joins with her, and then also Ivy, who is a vampire. She's a very wealthy vampire from a very wealthy family. She buys herself out of her contract, and so she is all in the clear. Ivy likes Rachel as a friend and wants more than a friend with Rachel. Rachel does not want Ivy in that way. So they kind of form their own independent runner service, and then they kind of help the police, mostly the FIB because the IS does not like them, solve crimes and figure out what's going on. Rachel also gets tied up with demons and elves and other creatures, other Interlanders that are political powers in their world, and so it is set in Cincinnati. I don't know why it's set in Cincinnati, but that is the location of where this all takes place. And then, so yeah, it's an interesting series. I can't say I love it. I do like the characters, and I want to know what happens, but I also feel like at times I get frustrated with the writer or the writing, and Rachel especially becomes very whiny as a character, or is written that way. But she goes through a lot of stuff. Excuse me. She goes through a lot of stuff. Boyfriends, different, all sorts of different things. It's unusual. So like in the Interlander world, witches, there's like humanity, well, witches are their own thing. They are not, they're a different species than humanity, and they cannot reproduce together. They are separate. And then, like, the weres can only reproduce with themselves. They cannot bite to turn somebody into a were, but they also, so they're kind of, they have to reproduce with each other. Vampires can both, they have living and undead vampires. Living vampires are people that have been born with the, well, there's different levels of this. When it's a pretty interesting concept for vampires. So you've got like the living vampires that were born that way. Ivy is one of those. She comes from a vampire family, a living family. So she is a born vampire. When she dies, she will become an undead vampire. The virus, the vampire virus or whatever is in her, and it's going to do that no matter when she dies. She will eventually become an undead vampire. Once you're an undead vampire, you have like can't go out in the sun, can't go on holy ground, all those kinds of things, but you're also a lot stronger, a lot faster, and you've got a lot of, that. You can also control people that you formed bonds with, either living vampires or humans or witches or whatever. And so you can kind of do that stuff. Ivy is a living vampire, and then there are also living vampires that were born human but were turned vampire by being bitten. A certain way, I think. If they die, they have to be brought back by an undead vampire. If they die away from their vampire, then they will not come back to life like Ivy would. So it's different, and they're kind of like lower class, like the bottom living vampires that are born that way, and then you've got like the undead vampires that are ruling everything. And so there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of different stories, a lot of different places they go, do a lot of different things. I really like this story. I really like the characters. And I think there's a lot of complexity to it. I do think that some of it just seems a little like, there are times where things that Rachel says or what Rachel does just are very kind of confusing to me. I don't understand why the author's doing that for Rachel, or so at times I get frustrated with it, but overall I still like it, but I don't love the series. So but I'm invested in it, and I want to know what happens, and that's really what's pushing me through. Not because I'm like, oh, it's a great series. I want to know what happens to these characters, and that I really love the characters. So I think that's the key there. Anyway, okay, so that's the end of that's the only thing I've been reading, really, so that's the end. So have a great one. I hope you all have a good stitching time, and I will be back in a little bit. Have a good one. Bye.